We don't have any Tanto katas, but this was one of the katas I had to learn for Shodan in Yoshinkai Aikido. So it's really nice because one of the things it teaches you is how to properly hold and use a knife to stab, strike, and use the blades in the proper way. So tonight I'm going to be using a Tanto that's two colored, right? This is the back of the Tanto, the light color. This is the blade side. And you'll need to pay attention as we go through this tonight so you can know what side is going to be up. The second thing is how we hold the Tanto. Basically, here, I want to hold it with the butt of the tsuka in my palm. And the reason is, when I'm holding it, if it's like that, it just becomes a clear extension of my arm and my full power is transferred to the Tanto. If I hold it with the butt outside my grip, you can see that my arm is at an angle where it's not a clear transfer of power, and many Tanto don't have a guard. So if you're not holding it correctly, your hand could literally slide up onto the blade. So again, as we go through this tonight, make sure you're holding the Tanto in the butt of your hand. Second thing you'll notice is that most of the thrust, the blade will be up, and I'll explain that a little later. Of course, when we cut down, we'll be cutting down with the blade down. We'll also be doing kesagiri, which is a cut across. When we do that, you need to make sure that the blade is straight with your cut. So it's not at an angle, because that would not cut. So we want to make sure when we're holding the blade that that's how we do it. Second thing is, one of the things that's good to practice is how to handle the blade, so that when we're holding it, sometimes we want to have the blade down. We want to also be able to quickly change from one position to the next, right? And this is practice you can do at home. Doing this is going to give you the ability to properly handle the Tanto so that when you're called up in front of someone to do randori or help them in their tests, you're going to be correct also. I can tell you, going to seeing the Tanto used in many different seminars, both here and abroad, people really don't pay attention to that. They're holding the Tanto with the end out. They're trying to hold like this. Whereas here now it's a clear, straight extension of the arm, okay? So as we go through this today, I'd like you to pay attention to that. I'm gonna start with a little bit of warm-ups. So if you just wanna stand up, right? Start with some breathing exercise. One special part of tonight's class is you get to see me without my hakama on. And the main reason is tonight, as we're going through the kata, I want you to pay special attention to my legs and the positioning and my feet. Hey, hips. Head and neck. So what I'd like to explain first is a couple of things about when we use the knife to stab. You'll see a lot of times people hold the knife blade down, which can be a problem. I'm going to have Matt come up to show you some things with me. Matt's in my pod. We have, there are three of us who basically have agreed to just train with each other. And Matt's one of those. I've also had both my COVID shots, so that's helpful. So we'll see a lot of people hold the knife blade down and they go to stab. And there's a problem with this. If you go, you can come in closer. If you go to stab here and you catch a blade, it's going to come up against your fingers and you can't hold it. That's why generally for stabbing, you want the blade up, because here, if it begins to go, it's against your whole arm and your whole body. You'll be able to hold on to the blade. Here, there's a chance you could literally lose control of the blade. So, and you can do that against your arm, turn it, blade down and push against it, and you'll feel it goes like this. Here you can push and it barely moves if you're holding it correctly in your hand. Thanks, Matt. Matt did a great job. Everyone give him a hand. So, so this is an important part. You know, we don't just hold the blade any which way. And you want to always, if you're attacking with a weapon, try and be able to hold on to the weapon. So keep this in mind. We're going to start from kamae, feet together, blade, our tantos here, with the tsuka pointing across, just like it would be with a bokken. Because if it was in my belt, you can see it would still be pointing out at an angle. So to start, bring it to your center, pull out, move into kamae. When you move into kamae, and I'll come in closer, two things. When your hand is in your center, and for these katas, our hips are square most of the time, right? We're not in this kind of position. So our hand is center line, fingers open, and the tanto is not pointing straight ahead, but is pointing to your opponent's center line, right? So it travels, if I want to basically thrust to a person, it's a straight line, not here having to adjust the blade. Second, this hand is on the hip. Second, when I thrust, as this comes forward, my other hand will come back and be on my hip, right? So if I'm going to do a thrust, it's this right on my hip. Same thing if I'm going to do shomanuchi, it's here. Generally, I don't want my hand flailing around. A lot of times you'll see people, they'll come in and do yokomanuchi and this hand's way out back. When that hand's out there, it's harder to bring it into play. If I do yokomanuchi and the hand's here, whether I have a sword in my hand, right? Either way, this can quickly respond. If it's out here or just flailing around, it's not moving from my center point to engage uke or nage. So as we go through this, we'll start feet together and our side, grab your tanto, cross step in. You want to make sure that your feet, as you step in, are only shoulder width apart. So if my feet right now are about shoulder width apart and I turn, it's actually a much narrower stance than many of us are used to. But by that stance, I have the ability to take a larger stance, a larger step or movement. Whereas if my feet are further apart, it limits how far I can move. So first movement, we're in kamae. We're going to step off the line, feet equal, and step 45 degrees. Thrust just below the floating rib, bring it back. Next, I'm going to step, feet equidistance, hands in the middle, hips are forward, step 45 degrees. This one's to the face. So again, from here, yame, kamae, ich, ribs, knee, face, and bring it back. All right, one more time, kamae, ich, face, knee. Go ahead and practice that, please. I'm going to be watching. If you have questions, I'll ask them in a minute. One more time, Julia. Julia, do it one more time. Start from the beginning. Good. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to butt in here and make a suggestion.
Yes.
When you come forward like that, if one of your students could come off of your left shoulder in that backspace and still practice, because I don't have a visual reference. I'd love to see.
Can one of you come over here and practice behind me? Thank you. You get to see Matt. Yoko.
A little to his right.
Come to your left. Come to
his right. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah. Good. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. So one thing I noticed, okay, when you're in kamae, right? This hand should be about your solar plexus high. So if you put your thumb first right just below your breastbone and bring it out, that's how high. It shouldn't be up right by your face, right?
And then, so sorry, Onigashima, sorry. When you're teaching, if you could have him be still.
Okay, now you can be still. We're good. That's fine. So basically, if I'm thrusting right to the low, to the ribs, this hand is almost a straight thrust because you want to come just under the floating rib because you don't want to get your knife caught in the ribs. Then when I cross over and go to the face, this comes back, it's on my hip, turn, comes up to the face and back. But the hand always comes back to center point, okay? We're gonna watch again for a minute. Okay,
Sensei, can we do it with you you're facing forward so we do it with you? Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna come right here. Okay, so kamae, do it with me. To the ribs, ich, step, feet are equal. Now I'm going to go 45 degrees in this direction, knee, face, right? So if Matt's here, right, and back up a little. So I'm in kamae. He's going to come in to cut me, ich, He steps back to face me. Neat. And this comes right under his jawline, right to the carotid artery. Right? Just for point of reference. Thank you. So, once more. Come on. Ribs. Itch. Face. Neat. Okay. Was that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Great. It's all looking pretty good. So Julia, make sure your hand's in your center, not off to the side, okay? You too, Pete. Arturo, go ahead.
And again, your side model would be really helpful when you come.
Okay. You can do it from here, just over on the side.
They can't hear me, so they can't hear me say when you tell them when you come forward that they should step in there.
So when I come forward, someone can step in and work to the side. Thank you. So I'd like to ask, does anyone have questions at this point before we move to our next position? Does anyone have a question?
No.
Good. I'm asking if you're stepping in with the knife thrust.
No, and let me see if I can show you. I'm going to do it from here. So I'll start here, right? So my feet are equidistant. This foot, the other foot's going to step back, right? So the foot that steps forward, feet are equidistant. My left foot's going to step back. Feet step equidistance. This one's going to step back. Okay? So I'm in position because Uke is going to be in the same place every time. So I want to end up in the same place. Yes, like that.
Right.
It's good. Okay? Also, I want to make sure you look at your, there are three things you need to look at in dealing with weapons, three principles. What is my target? And your eyes should, at the point of impact, your eyes should be drilled into that target. What's my target? What's my distance? And what is my timing? So for instance, in this case, I'll stab him, right? If he's gonna come in to cut at me, right? My feeling as he comes in, I know the distance, I have to be focused right here. Don't turn your hips so much. There we go. Right here, he steps back. I know he's coming in. Now I need to make sure my distance is correct. Again, my eyes, everything on my target. Thank you. So each time I go, this hand comes in, and I'm stepping to the side and comes back. Don't let your sword, your tanto, do the droop or straight ahead. It should be up just a little bit. And again, remember we're holding it in the palm of our hands, not like this. Whoop, not like this. Okay, any other questions so far? No other questions. Okay, so I'm gonna show this next one, moving away from you. So I start, kamae. I step, my feet are equidistant, ribs, 1. Face, 2. Next, this foot is going to stay in position. I'm going to step around and face 90 degrees. So, here, itch, ribs, face, turn. Okay? If this is north, right? If I'm thinking of a compass, which is sometimes helpful, north, next I'm going to face west. Okay? Go ahead and do that march, please. First, any questions for that movement? Okay, go ahead. So Robert, when you have your knife, make sure you're touching your hip bone when it's back here. It's not out to the side, it's not floating, okay? Good.
Side models.
That's good, Roger. That's it, Christy. Nice. Make sure the hand that doesn't have the weapon stays right in your center line, okay? Hips stay square in this particular kata. Mark, the hand that doesn't have the blade comes back and right to your hip bone. It should just cup your hip bone each time. So, yes. Good. Yeah, good. Roger, when you have your arm extended, don't crouch it in, extend it. Let your fingers extend so ki's flowing out your fingertips. Okay, everyone, that's looking pretty good. Let's move to the next part. And I'm going to do from facing front. Start here. Come on. First, step to the side, ribs, face, turn. Next, first, you remember the first time we stepped to the right. Now I'm going to step to the left. Step to the left, right? Step to the left. Ribs. So now I'm doing stepping to left ribs, feet equidistance, face. Okay. So once more. Once I'm facing in this direction, first time we went to the right, now we're going to the left first. Footsteps directly off the line. Back leg, small tenkan, 45 degrees. Ribs, so I go low. Feet equidistance. Small tenkan, 45 off the line. Face. Now as you bring your tanto back, you're going to turn it over so it's blade down. Good. Movement with me again. Yoi. Ich. Ribs. Knee. Face. Turn. Next to the left, we're going to the ribs. Ribs. Face. Bring your tanto back. And back foot's going to cross step in, kamai. So I'm facing now the opposite direction. You'll be facing away from me. Yes. So now we're facing south. So this whole kata takes place northwest, south, north. Okay, so let's start again. Kamai. Ich. Again, blades up. Knee. Face. Turn. Next, we're going to the left. Ribs. Next, face. We're going to cross step in, turn my blade over. So now it's blade down, facing front. My hips are square, not like this, but square in the direction I'm looking. Okay? Questions so far, or would you like to practice and I'll watch?
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
In that last position, when you turned to face the opposite way you started, were you in left hominy at the end?
Left on me with, again, the blade down.
Blade down.
Right? Because as we bring it back from doing the face, using my thumb, I'm going to turn the tanto over. Now I'm in kamai with that blade down. Okay? Go ahead, everyone, practice. Let me watch. Again, your front hand's too high, Arturo. Good, Christy. Nathan, nice. Yes. Ava? Yep. Make sure you go to the left first when you turn direction, Ava, make sure. So the first one is right, then left. Then when we turn and face west, it's left, then right. We move left first, then we go right. Watch, Matt. One more time, Robert. So one more time, start again, Robert. Always step forward from Kamai.
Oh.
Step forward into Kamai, not back. Okay, that's good. Yes, Robert Rentz, yes. Ribs, face. One more time, start again. Robert, start again. Good. Kamai, good.
Oh.
Rib, no, ribs, that's good. Step, face. Make sure that other hand comes right back to your hip, okay, every time. Yes, yes, yes. You should be able to feel the hip bone, not in front of it. Yep. Good, Julia. Make sure, yep. Good. Okay, so one thing I'd like everyone to work on is make sure, and I'm gonna get close, when I'm in Kamai, my hips are square. There's a tendency, because we're always used to doing this, is turning our hips. Make sure your hip is square. It helps sometimes if you turn your front foot out a little bit. That helps, right? So this hand, when it comes up, is right in the center. It's not here. That way, also, my blade has a shorter distance to travel. Second, the feeling is I want to open my fingers, so they're almost stretched a little. That'll cause me to extend my arm more instead of cock it in. So Kamai, right? It's here. So if I start, it's here, right? Here. Notice my hips are square. Okay, go ahead, everyone.
Since I have a question on the direction,
Yes, Susan, I can't see you.
Sensei,
Yes.
I know, I just have a question. So when
Uh-huh.
I turn to the west and then I
Yes.
take that step to my left, is my thrust actually in a southwest direction?
No, you're going to be, so if we're standing on the line, this time I'm going to step off the line and I'm going to be pointing, would be northwest, right? 45
Oh, right, okay.
degrees.
Yeah.
Just the same as
Yeah.
the first time, it's just we're stepping left first.
Okay, so northwest, that's,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
got
yeah.
my directions mixed up. Yes, thank you.
So Christy, make sure your thrust is fully extended. You're sort of doing this. Make sure it's fully extended. So your arm and the knife are in a straight line and all the power of your body's behind it. Okay? Try again. Someone can come over. One more time, Christy, start again.
Follow him and I do better with him.
Can I tag on to that northwest question?
Yes.
When you make that northwest strike, you're striking off the back. So you're striking with the right, but your left foot is forward on that diagonal.
So you can move. So when I'm on this diagonal, right, Kamai, here, my right foot's back. It's just a small tenkan, about 45 degrees. Okay? Then I step here. Now my left foot's back. Right, on this diagonal.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
Any other questions up to this point?
Yeah, I have one, I'm sorry. Are there
Yes.
5 strikes here or 1, 2, sorry, 1?
There's 4 so far. 4 so far. 2 in each direction. So once again, let's just do it with me. From here, Kamai, step forward. Step out with the right foot, 45 degrees to the ribs. 1. Cross the center line, 45 degrees to the face. 2. Turn. Next, I'm going to move my left foot just off the line. 45-degree pivot with my right foot. Ribs. Cross the center line. Face. Turn and face back. Now I'm Kamai again with the blade down. Raise the Tanto over your head. Cross step in. Shomanuchi waist tie. Should be right in my center. Again, the other hand comes back to my hip. Watch, please. Just watch now. I will do it the whole thing. My ich, ni, san, shi. Right? This comes right in. Let me come right in the middle here. So I'm in front of my screen. Here, comes right down waist high. Notice the blade is down now. One more time. Again, start with our blade up. Ich, knee, face, turn. Now to the left. Ich, ribs, face, knee. Turn the blade over. Right? Raise the bokken. I'm sorry, tanto. Cross step in, cut waist high. Good. One more time with me. Come on. Ich, ribs, knee, face, yoi. Turn face west. Go to the left. Ich, ribs, knee, face. Come on. Now we're facing back. Raise the ball, your tanto, cross step in, cut down waist high, shomanachi. Okay, go ahead. Your own speed. Questions up to that point, sorry. No questions? Okay, your turn. Good. Peter, once you have a knife, you're going to be incredible with that. Your movement's very good. Maybe everyone should have a spatula. Good, Ava. Yes. Now turn, blade down, cross step in. Yep, cross step in, shomanachi. The end, yes. Good, good, Peter, Robert. Arturo's good. So again, Christy, one more time, make sure your hand is fully extended, right? So it's fully extended, not here, right? And so when I thrust, it's exactly fully extended each time. So just finish, pause a little, and then bring back, and that'll get you to do it correctly, okay? Good. So don't step back before the shomanachi. Do one more time, Mark. Let me watch you. Good. Yep. Come back to your hips with the other hand, right? Yeah. Now turn and face west. Yes. Okay, so footwork is a little different, Mark. So once I'm, excuse me, Yoko. So once I'm in Kamai here, my left foot's forward. Make sure this left foot steps off the line, right foot's back, then thrust. Next, both feet are equidistant. Then this left foot goes back and then to the face. Then I cross step in at the end. Okay, go ahead. Good. Good, Julia. That's better, Mark. Now feet cross step over with your back foot. Left foot back. Yes. Now cross step in. Come on. No, not cross step back. Cross step in. Back foot steps forward. Left foot steps forward. Nope. So after you do the face thrust, do the face thrust facing to the west. Right? Now, your right foot will stay where it is. Left foot cross steps in. Don't cut yet. Left foot steps in, kamai. Raise your tanto. Cross step in, shomanachi. Okay? Got it? Hey. Good, Christy. Let's see you, Roger. Make sure that's ribs, face, okay? You're a little high on the ribs unless the guy's really tall. Do again. Yeah, better. Yes. Turn. Yes. Ribs. Face. Cross step in. Kamai. Now the blade should be down. Cross step in. Shomanuchi. Good. Okay, everyone. Stop a moment. Any questions? It's looking pretty good. Okay, yes. Okay, let's move to the next part. So after I go to face, back foot cross steps in, I'm in Kamai. Okay. Next, I'm going to raise my Tanto. As I raise the Tanto, this hand comes back to my hip, cross step in, Shomanuchi. Next, I want to keep my Tanto. Can you hear me? Hear me? Okay. I want to keep my Tanto here. And as I shift, because right now I have a wide stance, right, from my Shomanuchi. So come here. As I'm going to shift my weight back to my other foot, try not to raise my head. I'm going to pull the blade out of the person, right? So I shift my weight, going to turn, bring it to over the top of my head, right? So if I'm this way, right, if I've done Shomanuchi, I'm going to turn, bring it over my head, cross step in, Kamai. This time I'm in Kami Hitue. So I'm now facing back to where I started. So let me do from facing to the west. I've gone ribs, face, turn, up, Shomanuchi. Shift my weight, bring it right over my head, cross step in, Kamai. So when you look at my Kamai now my hip's all the way back, just like I'm doing a Riminage, right? Hips all the way back. This is held right over my face. So I have basically a thin presentation, hands on my hip, and this is in a blocking position, right? So after I've done my Shomanuchi, I turn, cross step in here. If I was cutting this way, I turn, step in, block, right? Questions? Let's see it. So let your back hip, Arturo, just go from the Shomanuchi. Let me see that Shomanuchi, right? Cross step in Shomanuchi, right over your head, Kamai. And that other hand should be right on your hip. And that should be right in front of your face. So if you're looking straight ahead, yes, and get your thumb off the top of the blade. You should always touch your index finger. Otherwise, your fingertip is just a target, right? Good.
End up right on me.
So Christy, go from that Shomanuchi facing the opposite direction.
And then, can I finish with him and see how I'm doing?
I'm sorry.
Then here,
Yeah. Now ten tai. Just shift your way to the no. Yes. Cross step in. So your left foot for Shomanuchi, right? So I'm here at Shomanuchi. It's right foot forward. Then I'm turning. Now I'm going to cross step in. I'm in right stance.
gotcha.
Okay. Also, Roger, don't make at the end when you block, when you get into your last position, it's like this. So the block is like this, right? If I'm right on the way, it's right like this. It's at an angle, 45-degree angle, not this. Okay. Yeah, so good. That's right, Nathan. Yes. Make sure it's covering your face. Should be face high, Arturo. Let's see, Julia. Good. Face. Yep. Turn. Now we go to the left. Yep. Ribs. Face. Okay. Face back. Cross step in. Shomenuchi. Tentai. Cross step in. No, just cross step in and block. That's just a block. Cross step in. It should be right in front of your face. Yes, 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 yes. Right in front of your face. Higher, higher, higher. And get your index finger so your finger and thumb touch. Always do that because otherwise your fingers are open to be injured. Okay, good. Any questions, Yame? Any questions at this point?
I do have a question. If you, after the shaman,
Yes,
if
yes.
you retreat, is your weight on the back leg or is it in between or where do you?
So I'll show you. So here I crossed up in Shomenuchi. Notice it's a fairly wide stance. It's a pretty big stance in. I'm going to keep my head level. I'm shifting my weight back as I pull the knife out. I shift my weight, turn, cross step in, kamae. And when I come into kamae, I'm back into that normal length kamae, but my hip is already the back. So my hip, my hand, and my shoulder are in one line. You shouldn't be able to see your back shoulder. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Hi. Any other questions? We having fun?
I'm still stuck on the second turn.
Yes. So here, I'm down. I'm going to shift my weight, bring the tanto over my head, face the other direction, just cross step in and block. Right? It's like an on guard. So it's here, turn, step in, block. Okay? Yes, 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 yes. Block, yes. Okay, so I'm going to show this first facing you and then facing away. So assume I'm now facing in the direction I started. I have my block. I'm going to raise the tanto. As I do, I bring my hip forward. Small shuffle in, I'm going to do kesagiri. Cut basically along the lapel line from the neck past uke's hip. My blade should be pointing down so that it's right in the direction of my cut. It shouldn't be at an angle. Either way, it should be in the angle of my cut. Comes low. Next, I turn the blade over. So now the blade is pointing to the forward, and I'm going to cut back the way I came. And as I do, my hip opens up. Okay, so from here, up, kesagiri, turn your blade over, kesa the other way, and then bring it back to my hip with the blade up, right? So I end up here. So I come up, right? My blade is up. As I come down, I turn it over, so the blade's up. So one more time. Here, cut up, bring it down. Both hands on our hips. Okay? Let's try it from the beginning together. Kamae. Ich, ribs. Knee, face, turn. To the left, ribs. To the right, face. Cross step in facing the opposite direction. Right foot forward, raise your tanto, cross step in, shomenuchi. Tentai. Cross step in, block. Shoulders back and come hitway. Raise the tanto. Hips now forward. Small shuffle in. Kesagiri. turn the blade over, cut back the way you came, bring both hands to your hips with the blade pointing up now. One more time. Right. Ich, ni, sam. Ich, ni, sam. Ich, yoi. Cut kesa. Ich, kesa, ni. Bring in. Okay. Questions? Make sure when you do your kesagiri, and I know you can't see my head. Actually, why don't you come here, Yoko? So when I cut, face me, yeah, so they can see. I want to cut right down. You look at her dogi, I cut right down that line. Thank you. Okay. And to do that, I need to make sure that I cut through. Then I cut back. Like boom, boom. Good. Okay, go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Right near the end, one more movement after this.
I have a question too.
Yes, yes.
Go ahead, Mark. You were first.
Okay, as you're turning the blade, it's not turning in your hand, right? You're just turning the blade by turning your hand up and down.
For kesagiri, yes.
You're not spinning the blade in your
So right now, for kesagiri, you can see right now, I'm starting with the blade for my blocking. It stays the same cut. I'm just turning my hand over, cutting back up. You can see the blade, the dark blade is still up, cutting through. As it comes down, I'm going to use my thumb to turn it over
okay.
as it comes to my waist.
Okay.
Could you see that?
Did, yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. Other questions?
Yes, Sensei,
Hi, hi.
it's Nathan.
Yes, I know.
After the cut up and turning the blade, turning it to blade up, edge up, to your, then you go to come left foot front by taking a step forward or back.
No, you're not taking a step at all. Basically, I shuffle in a little bit for first kesagiri, stay the same place. Second kesagiri, just bring it down to my hip.
Okay.
So shuffle here. That's it. Okay.
Thank you, Sensei.
Hi. I'm watching y'all. That was good, Peter. Yes, good. Ava, make sure that other hand that doesn't have the blade always comes and literally touches your hip, all the way back to touch your hip bone, okay? Try again. From the beginning, go ahead. Yeah, so if you look at me, right, as I do that, it's here. It's touching my hip. Good.
I have a slight question. When
Yes,
you
Arturo.
come to the place where you're doing the block at the end,
Yes. Yes.
and your blade is at that kind of diagonal, is that the
Yes.
same diagonal that you're cutting the case on, or are you crossing it to the other side?
No, basically, I'm crossing to the other side. So if you look as I change my hips, right, I'm here, I bring it up. It's almost like I'm gonna do shomanuchi, and I'm just gonna cut down
Right.
from here. Boom, turn, cut up. Now my hips are really square again. Bring it down, blade up.
Here. Here.
That's when I turn it. As I bring it down from cutting up, as I bring it down, I'm turning the blade over. So it's blade up. Okay. So we're ready. I'm going to take you to the last movement, then we'll do the whole thing. Okay. So, oh gosh, just stay there. So, right, just stay there. So I'm here. He's that far away, so we're fairly close. So I take a little shuffle in, cut down kesagiri, cut up. Next, I'm going to bring both feet together as I bring this here, right foot step back, thrust. And the reason I don't step in or step away from him, if I just step back, right? So if I go here, here, step back, I'll never reach him. So here, here, feet together. Now my right foot steps back, thrust right under the solar plexus, right? So from here, shuffle in, cut, up, open up, leg comes over, back foot, even, right foot steps back, both arms together, thrust. Then shuffle back, kamae, back to our beginning, here. Okay? Want to try it?
I didn't see the last thrust. You said both arms forward together.
Yeah, so once I come up here, I've come down, up, turn it over. Back foot steps up so my feet are even. Right foot steps back as both hands grab the tanto and thrust.
Got it.
All right, so it's here, both hands together.
Right.
Then back to kamae. Left foot steps back, yame. So shuffle in, 1, 2, 3. Because I'm pretty much staying in the same place. Once I shuffle in for the first kesa, same place, feet together, 3. Go ahead. Go ahead, Yoko, you can. Good. Good, Roger. Ribs, face. Nice, Mark. Yep, that's exactly what happens. So once you do both together, Mark, at the end, right? You're just gonna shuffle back into kamae. Boken, the tanto blade up, front foot steps back, and you end up, right? Just here's how we start, here's how we end, okay? And make sure that hand comes all the way back to your hip, Ava. There we go. Good, Mark. Step back to kamae first, right? Kamae first, right? We step. So we've done 1, 2, turn 3. Kamae. Step back.
2.
Right. Turn it over. Yes, that was good, Nathan. Get your thumb off the top of your tanto, Arturo. I call that a habit. There we go. Okay. Now kesa, 1, turn, 2. Step back, 3, good. Okay, let's do the whole thing with me. Thank you. Come on. Ich, ni, sam, shi. Come on. Up, shominachi. Ich, yoi. Cross step in with block. Raise your boken, hips forward, kesagiri. Ich, ni. Bring your tanto down, blade up, back foot steps up equal, right foot steps back, both hands thrust just below the breastbone, shuffle back, kamae. Grab the tanto with both hands, right hand, let's go, yame. Okay, once more, kamae. Ich, ni, kamae. Ich, ni, kamae. Ich, yoi. Kesa. Ich, ni, sam. Kamae. Yame. Okay, go ahead. Two more
A
minutes.
little slower, please.
I was picking up the pace a little, but I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it one more time, a little slower. So for testing, let me do it at the speed I've done for testing, then we'll do it slow. Come on. That was testing speed. Now we'll do it slowly together, okay? Come on. Slowly. Ich. Ni. Ich. Ni. Ich. Yoi. Kesagiri. Ich. Ni. Feet together. Sam, both hands. Shuffle back. Kamai. Put Tanto away. Yame. Any questions? Any questions? Peter, did you have questions?
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, everyone do one more time on your own speed so I can watch. And I'll count it out. Ready? Kamai. Kamai. I'll count it out. Face front, start out in the beginning. Kamai. Ready? Ich. Ribs. Ni. Face. Turn direction. Ribs to the left. Ich. Face. Ni. Cross step in the back. Kamai. Cross step in. Shomenuchi. Ich. Yoi. Cross step in. Block. Ready? Kesagiri. Ich. Ni. You're going to bring feet together. Cross step back. San. Shuffle back into Kamai. Kamai, the other hand's up, just like we started. All right, now grab your Tanto feet together. Put back. That's it. So, any other questions? So this is Tanto Tandoku Kata Daiichi. Tandoku means solo. There were 5 of these solo. Each one gets a little more challenging. By the time we got to Sandan, you needed to know all 5. For Shodan, we had also Kumi Tanto, so 2 Tantos, Kumi Tanto Jo and Kumi Tachi Tanto. At least 15 of those, and then just other ones that didn't involve Tanto. So we had a fairly large weapon repertoire. But I find these solo knife katas a lot of fun because they're easy. 2, it teaches you proper positioning for holding the Tanto and for cutting, always making sure the blade's in the right position, that you're holding the blade in the palm of your hand, not with the end sticking out, that the blade is always in the direction you're cutting, that when you thrust, you're generally going to see when I attack, I'm thrusting with that blade up. And we saw the reason for that. If it hits the rib, it's going to push down into my arm. My whole arm holds it. If I turn over and it hits the rib, it's going to literally take it out of my hand. So we don't want that. We want to be lethal. Also, the 3 principles. What is my target? What is my distance? And what is my timing? And if you keep those 3 principles in mind for all your bukiwas, all your weapons training, whether it's solo, in which case you use an imaginary target, or with a partner, those 3 principles will really help your practice. And it carries over to our taijutsu, our unarmed training. So does anyone have any questions?
Do you have any videos on this?
No, but we will.
And I did record this class, so if it's okay with you, Charlie Sensei, it could be shared within the dojo.
Yeah, and if you'll send me a copy, I'll share it with my students also. That'd be great. Okay, if there are no more questions, let's line up and bow out. Shomeneri. ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.